All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really profound, deeply reflective piece of writing called The Sky Within a Single Bite. We're going to explore how the absolute relentless pace and just the sheer volume of modern life has quietly, almost invisibly, stolen the magic right out of our daily routines. We're going to take a hard look at how we eat, how we see, and honestly, what we might be completely missing right in front of our faces. So let me ask you, when was the last time a sip of water felt like an absolute miracle? Just think about that for a second. It's a heavy question, isn't it? Taking a beat here to let that sink in is so necessary because it invites us to really check our own pulse. Are we feeling that spiritual numbness, that creeping, quiet feeling of just going through the motions without really truly experiencing the life we're living? Section 1, the illusion of normal, the heavy cost of getting used to things. Picture this. Picture a modern adult sitting down at a dining table. We are literally surrounded by abundance. I mean, we have more choices now than ever before in human history. And yet, we're profoundly exhausted by all this excess. We're sitting there, physically full, but spiritually starving. Why is that? Well, it's because as we grow up, we just slap the label normal onto everything. Bread? Normal. Water? Normal. Waking up healthy? Totally normal. We become these adults who just walk right through our blessings without ever truly touching them. But the reality sitting right there on the plate in front of us is that none of this is normal at all. They are literal miracles, just repeated for us every single day. The author captures this tragedy perfectly, saying, "To become accustomed is not to notice, and not to notice quietly closes the door of gratitude." Think about that for a moment. It's like this thick veil gets pulled over the surface of things, and it completely dulls our vision. Because we've grown so incredibly used to just having food and water on demand, our dining tables have gotten so much bigger. But our actual, genuine gratitude? It's shrunk. It's gotten so much smaller. Section 2. The Child's Gaze. Seeing the world created for the first time. You see, the thing is, we don't just grow up. We basically forget how to look at the world. But watch what happens. How the whole lens completely shifts when you bring a crawling child up to that exact same dining table. To a kid, every blessing is a first. They don't just mindlessly eat. They touch, they look closely, they smell, they wonder at it all. They haven't yet morphed into that person who's grown accustomed to the world. For them, it's as if water is becoming cool for the very first time in history. And just watching them, it reminds us to actively put the brakes on our own frantic pacing. Just think about the sheer variety of stuff we encounter every day. Meat, fish, eggs, olives, cheese, fruit. To us adults, that's just a tedious grocery list, right? Just another chore to hurriedly check off on a Tuesday night. But to a child, the author points out that to a kid, even a single grape is seen as this incredible glad tiding that just fell directly from the sky. They treat all this overwhelming abundance with the actual awe it deserves. And that brings us to this absolutely crucial point. A spoonful of yogurt is not just a flavor on the tongue, it's almost a prayer. When that child lifts a little morsel to their mouth, with those eager, clumsy hands and wide eyes, they aren't just showing us that they're hungry. The text beautifully describes this eager appetite as speaking pure gratitude in the silent language of being. They are actively discovering the true essence of the gift. Section 3, Miracles in a Crumb. Zooming out from the micro to the macro. Let's just trace the journey of a single sip of water back to its source. Sure, right now it's in the glass. But before that, it was the rain. And before that, it was the clouds. And before that, countless unseen causes. For all of our modern brilliance and technology, human beings cannot truly create this. We cannot make water sweet out of thin air. We absolutely cannot write life into a tiny seed. At the end of the day, we can only receive. Even that simple, everyday piece of bread brings together the sun, the soil, the rain, and thousands of unseen causes. And the second you realize this deep, staggering, cosmic connection, nothing on your table feels insignificant ever again. You stop looking at the bread as just, some mundane carbohydrate you're trying to cut back on, and you start seeing it for what it truly is. A stunning, literal convergence of the entire universe. The text wraps up this profound realization with a really beautiful couplet. It says, "Every morsel appears outwardly as a tiny provision, yet within it dwells 1,000 mercies and unseen visions. True gratitude starts exactly right here. It begins the moment we recognize our own total helplessness before the absolute grandeur hidden in tiny, everyday crumbs. And honestly, realizing how incredibly awe-inspiring that helplessness actually is. Section 4. Nourishing the heart. Why stomachs are full, yet hearts remain hungry. So, we're talking about a very specific type of modern exhaustion here. We live in an era where information is just constantly increasing, right? But our sense of wonder is drastically, rapidly decreasing. The hunger of the body, well, that's easily satisfied by bread. That's the simple part. But the hunger of the heart, that can only be satisfied through meaning. And this is exactly why we so often feel incredibly restless, even after a massive meal when we are completely full. When meaning gets stripped out of our daily routines, our blessings stop feeling like gifts and just become heavy burdens. As the author brilliantly argues, blessings are not merely eaten, they are also read. A table has to be more than just a literal pit stop to consume calories. It needs to invite contemplation. The text suggests that when we actually learn to read our blessings, when we take a second to recognize the source and the sheer mercy behind them, our everyday existence actually regains its light. Section 5. The discipline of gratitude, remembering the one who gave it. We are basically redefining gratitude entirely here. We're elevating it from just a polite, automatic habit to a rigorous, intentional practice of the heart. The essay grounds all these poetic ideas into a really concrete theological concept known as tahdith an-nirma. Roughly translated, this means to proclaim a blessing. But here's the key. This is not about showing off. It's not about boasting about what you have on social media. Rather, it's the deliberate, conscious act of remembering the one who gave it to you. It proves that speaking of your blessings is a true, intentional spiritual discipline. The author roots this whole concept in a powerful quote from the Quran. And as for the favor of your Lord, proclaim it. The text describes this verse as this diamond-like command that just crashes down upon the dining table, shaking us by the shoulders and urging humanity to finally wake up from its accustomed zombie-like slumber. Okay, so how do we actually do this in practice? The text outlines it so beautifully. We have to speak it with joy. Speak it with thankfulness. Speak of every single blessing as if we are receiving it for the very first time. We need to see it anew, love it anew, and understand it anew. Gratitude in this framework isn't just murmuring a quick habitual thank you before you dig in. It's an active, vibrant, joyous discipline of experiencing life as entirely fresh. The shift in mindset here is just profound. It's literally the difference between sitting back and saying, wow, what a beautiful meal, and saying, what a beautiful Lord we have. Proclaiming a blessing like that shifts our entire focus away from just the physical object and points it directly toward the divine love and intention behind that gift. As the essay reminds us, a single bite, a world, a single sip, a mercy. The tongue that speaks of blessings is in truth praising the truth. And that perfectly summarizes the crawling child's silent sermon we talked about earlier. Every daily meal, every sip of water from a glass, is not just about biological survival. No, it's a repeated daily message of love from the Creator. Which leaves us with one final, lingering thought to consider. What secret is resting upon your table today? The very next time you sit down to eat, I really challenge you to stop taking the normal for granted. Look closely, pay attention, and see if you can find the sky within a single bite.